Okay, today we're going to talk about very specific beach locations for successfully catching bull redfish in Louisiana. I'm going to give away all of our best family secrets, but I would be painting with an overly broad brush if I didn't mention the importance of prayer. Let me tell you that God in heaven is waiting for opportunities to make husbands and fathers look good in front of their wives and children, especially when husbands and fathers rise up to do the work of being priests and kings in their home and starting to pray. I didn't catch many fish with my children until I learned to pray for success fishing. God wants to honor fathers by answering their prayers for their children. So when that child has something at school they're struggling with, has an interpersonal relationship, has a goal they want to accomplish, wants to get a job, or wants to catch a fish, fathers, it's your job to pray, and God will honor you when He hears those prayers. Okay, so here are some fishing success pictures, and you know, I like to be the person reeling in the big redfish, but I even like more to be the net man, and I've had the privilege of netting a lot of big bull reds for my children, my family, on guests on my boat. And this is my son Joshua reeling in a bull red, and here we're at what I call the restored beach between Holly Beach and the jetties in Cameron. Here's a picture of me with a nice big bull red caught in Cameron. Another one, nice big bull red caught down in Cameron. Yet another different, honest, these aren't all the same big bull redfish caught down in Cameron. This is a couple of big bull redfish and a big black drum that we caught in Grand Isle. Another fish in Grand Isle. This is at Rutherford Beach, and this is one of the biggest bull reds that my son Joshua has ever caught, and he caught it in a kayak off Rutherford Beach. Another shot of one of my children reeling in a big bull red, nothing like that rod bend to tell you stuff's going on. This is the restored beach. You can see that ship in the background is actually in the Kagashu ship channel, a mile or two east of the beach. This is my daughter with the big bull redfish, probably also at the restored beach in Cameron. Daughter in a kayak, son with a big bull red, son with another big bull red, son reeling in a big bull red. Oh, it gets boring, doesn't it? All these big bull reds, all these rods bending. Story of my life since we learned how to pray for fishing success. Okay, so let's talk about the what's and where's in this deal. So this is a map of the big picture, the state of Louisiana. And our two focus areas for beach fishing in Louisiana are Grand Isle and the beaches in Cameron. Alright, so let's zoom a little bit on the Grand Isle situation. And what I want to emphasize about Grand Isle is that the best location isn't in Grand Isle proper. There are two things that you're really looking for when beach fishing for bull reds. One of the things you're looking for is you want the water to get deep quickly. So you don't want the bait sitting out there in 2 or 3 feet of water. You want the water to get deep enough, like maybe 4 feet deep or 6 feet deep, so that you can get into that deeper water from the beach. And a lot of Grand Isle proper, the actual island, the beach and the slope is a little too gentle to get the bait into the deeper water that you might prefer. It gets a little better over at the eastern end of the island near the state park, but none of it is really ideal. The second thing that you're looking for when you're picking a good spot for beach fishing is you want a feature, some kind of feature. I mean, you don't just want it to be a random spot along miles and miles of beach. And it turns out that the most interesting feature, in my opinion, that you can fish from the beach in the whole state of Louisiana is right here. It's actually on Elmers Island. This is Caminada Pass. This is Elmers Island. It's across Caminada Pass from Grand Isle. So the interesting feature here, which combines everything we want, we get into deep water quickly, and we have an interesting feature, is the fact that on this eastern tip of Elmers Island, you can actually cast out from that beach and your bait is in Caminada Pass. And the combination of the pass, the moving water flowing into or out of the pass with the tides, that little bend, just makes this the best bull red spot in the whole state of Louisiana. And some of our biggest catches, our most exciting days, some of it's on other videos in our Surf Fishing for Bull Red series. And that is the spot. If you can get there, fish that spot. It's a little harder to get to in the last couple of years since they no longer allow cars to drive out all the way to this spot. You have to park at a different location on Elmers Island and walk out. Alternatively, if you happen to have access from a boat, you can boat across, beach the boat, set up here. Good fishing, good fishing. Worth the effort to get there. Okay, so the other spots in Louisiana that we like to fish, the beach, are all in Cameron Parish. And these range from Rutherford Beach, which is a little bit east of Calcasieu Pass. This is Calcasieu Pass. This is where the Mermentau River comes into the Gulf of Mexico. And then just a little bit further west is Sabine Pass. So our favorite spot in Cameron Parish is this spot, Rutherford Beach, right here. So you come to the end of 2782 through Creole, and then there's a little road you can get on and come out at Rutherford Beach. And this has the two features we look for. The water gets deep very quickly, and it's also got this little bayou from the Mermentau River that just kind of spills out there, and it's close enough to Calcasieu Pass and the Mermentau Pass. And this is just a hot, hot spot. Now, it's not a big deal if you happen to be staying on the west side of the pass and you don't feel like taking the ferry across to get to Rutherford Beach. There's plenty of good spots on the west side of the pass too, and some of them are actually advantageous under certain conditions. For example, the area that we call the Restored Beach is this area where they rebuilt the beach a few years ago along Highway 27. It's actually between Holly Beach proper and the Calcasieu Ship Channel. And the reason we like it is because it gets deep quickly. It's close enough to the pass that you get a lot of good effects of the pass, right? The tides moving in and out of the pass, a lot of fish moving in and out of the pass like to come by and eat at that beach. The other feature is that a lot of times in Louisiana you have a wind from the southeast or east-southeast kicking up waves in this direction. This beach can actually be in what I call the wave shadow of the jetties. So even though most of the beaches in Louisiana might be too windy, too much wave action to fish, this beach can be in the wave shadow in certain southeast wind conditions so that it's a little more peaceful and you can have a little less fighting with the surf as you're fishing there. Now, Holly Beach proper is not a terrible place to fish. Like if you just happen to be staying at Holly Beach or it's where you happen to be and you don't have time to access a better location. But it doesn't get deep as quickly as I like. It's just kind of a plain stretch of beach for miles and miles. There's no interesting feature there to attract the fish. So I don't really like fishing Holly Beach proper too much. But if I'm in the neighborhood, there's this place called Little Florida Beach in Johnson Bayou. And one of the features that it has some interesting features with these rock lines. And these rock lines were placed out there to protect the beach from erosion. So they sort of change the wave action and they create right behind the rock line this little hump, and in between the breaks of the rock lines, there's a little deeper spot. So you notice there's also some features here. This one's the closest one to the beach. So this is an interesting spot right here. And then as you go further westward, it gets a little further away from the beach. And this westernmost rock line is also a little interesting for a couple reasons. It's the end of the rock line, so fish are either moving in or moving out or moving through. But there's also this kind of little saltwater pond back here in this neighborhood. And the saltwater pond often opens up with a little bayou or gully or whatever you want to call it into the Gulf of Mexico. There's a lot of bait in this little pond. And when that little bayou opens up and there's little tidal action either into or out of that pond, that's a second interesting feature. So the water gets deep enough to get your bait into deeper water straight from the beach here, if you're in, especially if you're in between the rocks, either just beyond this one or just before it, and then the rock lines and the bayou from that little saltwater pond make another very interesting feature. We've caught lots and lots of redfish in this little neighborhood here. It's a great place to fish. All right, as you're moving west from there, you get to Maes Beach. And Maes Beach is a really beautiful spot as well. You can access it. There's a little road from the Gulf Highway. Come out, you can drive on this beach, so you can turn this way, come up a little bit. And what you're looking for is you're just looking for a little bit of change in feature. And it might not be the same every time. Sometimes you have to look out on the water and you have to see where the wave action is actually doing something a little different. And we've often found that to be about right here, although, you know, one tropical storm goes by and it's going to be a little bit different spot. So Maes Beach has this feature. It gets deep quickly. Likewise, there's another little saltwater pond right here. So oftentimes on a high tide, that fills up, and then when the tide's falling, you get bait being washed out from the little saltwater pond through a little bayou or gully or whatever you want to call it. That makes this area kind of hot. Because think about it this way, you've got some kind of water with bait in it kind of running out here. The prevailing tide in the summertime is usually east to west. So you set up about right here, get your baits in the deep water and hold on tight. There's going to be a bull red come along quickly. So basically, after the importance of prayer, what you want to do to catch bull reds is you want to get the right bait in the right place at the right time. So the beaches I've showed you are the right place. The right bait is either cracked crab or cut mullet most of the time. You know, if you can catch an 8 to 10 inch croaker or sand trout or pinfish, hook that sucker up and throw them out. Just enough weight to hold the bottom and hold on, and you're trying to get it into water that's 4 to 6 feet deep. Not that you'll never catch a bull red in water that's 2 to 4 feet deep, but this is really about the probabilities. How many bull reds are you going to catch in a day? How long do you have to wait before you get that good one? Right? If you get the right bait in the right spot, hold on tight. That bull red's going to be along shortly. So remember to pray. Take your kids fishing this weekend. God bless.